Alright guys, so today we're going to check out Razer's brand new gaming headsets that's just released as of today. And the pairs we're going to check out are the brand new Razer Blackshark version 2 and version 2X. Now these are two different gaming headsets that have a lot of similarities, but there are some differences here and there. To start with, the price on the version 2X comes in at $59, where this is more of a base model, and then the regular version 2 comes in at $99, where it adds a USB sound card that's giving you THX certification, which opens up the sound a little bit more and sounds really impressive when it comes to games and movies. But we'll check out both of these headsets, look at some of the similarities, check out some of the differences, and see if it's worth the $40 difference for the regular version 2. Now to start with, both of these have 50mm drivers, but the regular version 2 is using titanium drivers. And I did notice a little bit of a sound difference when it comes to the two, but we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about the sound. Now, as far as the design itself, the original Blackshark is one of the most obnoxious looking gaming headsets I had ever seen. So I was kind of surprised that they were even bringing these back, but it's a lot more subtle looking now. It still has that aviator type look that the original ones had, but it looks like a normal gaming headset. Now, as far as some of the differences between the two, I will say that the material that's being used on the ear cups and the headband, on the version 2 you have kind of a fabric material. It's a lot more breathable, so if you're somebody that games for longer periods of time, I would probably lean you in that direction, where the X is using a pleather type material, and I did notice after gaming for a little while it got a little bit warm. It was just more comfortable for me to use the regular version 2. Now both of these are extremely comfortable. They're both using memory foam, so it just is a very light headset that you still can wear for long periods of time. Now the main difference between both of these, like I said earlier, they both have a 3.5mm connection as far as the cable goes, but the regular version 2 is giving you a USB sound card. That does open up a little more opportunities because you have the ability to use Razer's Synapse software. Now that's only if you're going to be using them on PC, but it allows you to use different EQ settings. There's even presets built for certain games, and you even have different audio controls over the mic itself. So I find that adds quite a bit of value if you use the Blackshark version 2. And speaking of the cable, this is where there is another difference. On the regular X, you have basically like a rubber / silicone type material cable, where on the version 2 you have a nice braided fabric material, so it definitely feels more premium. Now another difference between the two is on the base model X, the logo is basically black. It just kind of blends in with the ear cup and it gives it a more generic look overall, where with the version 2, the logo has Razer's typical neon green and it just stands out a little bit more. Now outside of that, the microphone being used on both of these is essentially the same microphone, but on the version 2 it's removable, where on the X it's non-removable. So if you like to use your gaming headset kind of as a normal headphone and don't want to have that cable attached all the time, that is something you might want to look at the version 2 for. And then really outside of that, there's no difference when it comes to the design. They both have the exposed cable, which I'm not a huge fan of, that goes between the ear cups and the headband itself. And the reason I'm not a fan of that is if you're wearing these and something just happens to clip them or catch them if you take them off and something damages that, basically makes it where your headset is just non-usable. And then both headsets have the single volume knob that's located on the left hand side, and then the mic mute button that is also located on the left ear cup. Now going back to the microphones on these, both are using Razer's hyper-cleared cardioid mic, and I think this is a very good microphone, especially given the price range that these headsets fall under. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. Alright, so here is a mic test using the Blackshark version 2. As you can tell, I think it picks up my voice very well. This is on a normal profile. I haven't done anything to enhance this, but this is what it would sound like if you were to use it straight out of the box. And so here is the microphone using the Blackshark version 2X. I actually prefer the sound that's coming out of this, as I feel like it's a little bit cleaner, and I don't know if it's because it's not going through a USB sound card, so there's no kind of digital interference, but this is what it would sound like if you were to use the microphone on the Blackshark version 2X. So now let's talk about the sound. The sound of these definitely kind of steers away from other Razer gaming headsets that I've tried in the past, where most of them have that boomier sound. It's a warmer tone and sometimes can get muddy depending on what you're listening to. These are more focused on the mids and the highs. And it was kind of the same thing when I reviewed the Razer Opus, where I felt like there was a lot of focus on the clarity. These are doing the exact same thing. And if you're somebody that games a lot, you'll know how important that is, because it picks apart dialogue a lot easier. You can definitely hear footsteps a lot easier when your mids are more focused. And the bass is just toned down to the point where you can still feel it, but it just doesn't have that overwhelming impact that other Razer headsets have had. So if you are more of a fan of having that really boomy bass, this is probably going to leave you a little underwhelmed. But if you are somebody that likes to hear every subtle sound, which is kind of what I like, especially when gaming, this kind of hit the nail on the head. And another thing that these were great at were listening to movies. Just again, the focus on dialogue, you're hearing everything a lot clearer, and it just sounds really natural. Now, as far as the sound difference between the two, I will say that having that sound card on the regular version 2 definitely opened up the sound a little bit more. It felt like you were in a much wider environment, and to me, it just felt a little more natural.
Star delivered. Take it.
Reloading. Reloading. Hostile spotted.
Where the regular X just kind of had more of a stereo feel to it. It still sounded great, it just wasn't as open as the version 2. So for me personally, I think it's worth the $40 difference looking at the version 2 instead of the X, but I can still say that both of them are very good for the price. Now, as far as my cons, I do wish that they had removable cables. I'm just a huge fan of that, because if something happens to the cable, it's just easier to replace. I'm really not a fan of that exposed cable between the ear cups and the headband, but it seems like most gaming headsets lean towards that design. And then the only other thing that I think some people are going to want is just a little bit more boost in the bass. Now, the Blackshark version 2 also allows you to use Razer software, so you do have some different EQ options when it comes to that, but I still notice that it doesn't give you that really powerful bass that Razer's known for. But outside of that, I think both of these are incredible values. I really like the sound card that comes in the version 2, but I really like the sound that the base model is giving you for $59. So for Razer to have both of these and have them under $100, I think it's a very competitive market. I think Razer realizes that, but I am a huge fan of the direction that they're going in, and I love the clarity and the details that these can bring out. But guys, that's my video on the brand new Razer Blackshark version 2 and version 2X. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.